Soul Simsville. I'm Jeffery Crumplebottom, your humble host, former resident reporter, and current witness to what can only be described as a rapidly escalating season of my life. If you're just joining us, allow me to catch you up because this past season of the SimsVille podcast has been nothing short of extraordinary. We began with celebration. My podcast secured its very first sponsor, Landgraab Industries. But as is often the case in Simsville, triumph and tragedy arrived hand in hand. Indeed, I reported on the devastating life of Hannelore Landgraab, former wife of Malcolm Landgraab, who tragically perished during a volcanic eruption in Solani. Around the same time, I announced the marriage of Hazel Dante to conservationist Dennis Phillips, a union that would later take a heartbreaking turn of its own. As weeks passed, my personal life grew complicated. My mother burst into my basement studio one afternoon screaming about a massive beehive in our backyard, an incident that led to my first deeply unsettling encounter with fairies, an experience that left me enchanted, confused, and mildly glitter adjacent. And then came the darker days. The untimely death of Gunther Goth, following what authorities described as a grilled cheese-related accident at his son Mortimer's home. I attended his funeral, I interviewed mourners, and, in a sentence I never expected to say aloud, I interviewed his ghost. Winterfest followed, spent with the Goth family, where a voicemail from listener Riley Harlow added fresh fuel to an already tangled love triangle. Soon after, the fairies reappeared, this time delivering former exterminator Randy Cox to the neighboring town of Four Corners. And then, I received a phone call that changed everything. So now, dear listeners, grab your headphones because I'm coming to you live from my newly acquired apartment in the vibrant, relentlessly energetic city of San Myshuno. Thanks to business magnate Malcolm Landgraab and his team at Landgraab Industries, I've officially accepted the role of weekend manager of the Landgraab apartment right here in the heart of the metropolis. And let me tell you, it's an adjustment. The air here lacks the crisp, calming freshness of Simsville, replaced instead by smog, exhaust, and the unmistakable scent of city life. On certain days, the skyline presses in from all sides, leaving precious little room for sky or serenity. But still, I must admit, San Myshuno has its charms. It's a living tapestry of art, culture, and sound. From the chaos of the spice market to the polished excess of uptown, the city hums with creativity, whether one asks for it or not. The residents have been welcoming enough. My training at the Landgraab Apartments has gone smoothly. Adrian Landgraab, Malcolm's son, has been nothing short of encouraging. We even discovered that we share an appreciation for surrealist art. A pleasant surprise, I'll admit. However, across the hall lives Bruno Handy, brother of Melissa Roomies, a man who has never forgiven me for officiating his sister's wedding, a ceremony that, I must remind you, descended into chaos and required immediate intervention. And then there's my other neighbor, Shannon Desperate, the self-proclaimed king of the complex. His late-night parties are relentless, his volume unforgivable, his consideration for others non-existent. If there were ever a living definition of loud and lecherous, it would be Shannon Desperate. Still, I remain determined. After all, life in San Myshuno is nothing if not educational. So, after a word from our sponsors, we'll move into new announcements and listener letters.
Are you ready for the ultimate showdown in the pet world? Landgraab Games proudly presents Sirloin Shuffle, the most exhilarating tug-of-war experience ever created. Step into the paws of your favorite animal and dive into a vibrant world where competition meets mealtime mayhem. With stunning graphics and unsettlingly lifelike animations, you'll feel the tension as pets battle over the ultimate prize, dinner. Challenge your friends or strangers across Sim Nation with our thrilling 32-player online support. Will you rise to the top in Pet Dynasty mode and prove you're the ultimate food champion? It's not just a game, it's a paws-on revolution. So grab your favorite chew toy and prepare for chaos, because in Sirloin Shuffle, it's always food fight time. Available now on all major platforms, rated E for everyone.
And now for news, announcements, and listener letters. In today's top story, Simsville residents are reporting a series of strange lights flickering across the night sky. Witnesses describe them as bright, erratic, and absolutely not drones. Multiple callers to the Simsville non-emergency but emotionally urgent hotline claimed they saw spacecraft-shaped silhouettes drifting above the residential district late last night. One citizen insisted the craft hovered politely, which is frankly more courtesy than we usually receive from visiting family during the holidays. Most alarming and unexpectedly fashion-forward were reports from a group of teenagers who described pastel-colored humanoids wandering a cul-de-sac wearing what they described as sparkly spacesuits with excellent tailoring. One teen stated the aliens looked like if a marshmallow, a hologram, and a runway model had a baby. Authorities insist there's no cause for concern, though one spokesperson admitted they had also seen the lights immediately before walking into a lamppost. And now, a letter from a familiar name. This one comes from former SimsVille exterminator Randy Cox. Dear Jeffrey, I've been meaning to reach out, especially after hearing my name mentioned on the show recently. It's high time I set the record straight before the rumors take on a life of their own and grow even more colorful than they already are. Yes, I was indeed the lead exterminator for SimsVille, diligently working to keep our quaint town free from pesky critters. However, after my recent encounter with what I can only describe as ethereal beings, though I was told they were harmless, I've made the decision to step away from the profession for a while. You see, once you lock eyes with something that sparkles and sweetly whispers your social security numbers, concentrating on dealing with cockroaches becomes quite the challenge. It's like trying to focus on a math problem while a parade of glittering wings dances before your eyes. So, for now, I find myself taking a break from exterminating. I've turned my attention to tinkering around the house, leaky sinks, replacing flickering light fixtures, and carrying out small repairs for neighbors who are kind enough to keep their curiosity at bay. And wouldn't you know, some folks have started calling me a repairman. I haven't bothered to correct them. It feels like a nice distraction and helps keep my hands busy and my mind off of, wings. Please assure your listeners that SimsVille has pest control in place, just without me at the helm. And if anyone hears a soft twinkling sound wafting through their gardens, I strongly recommend they pretend they don't. It's for the best. Trust me. Sincerely, Randy Cox. Well, Randy, as I mentioned before, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it does sound like you may be experiencing post-traumatic stress following your encounter with those troublesome fairies. There's no shame in that. I strongly recommend speaking with a professional. There's an excellent therapist I know in Sim City, Dr. Wright. Don't be alarmed by his green hair. He truly knows what he's doing. Stick around. After a quick word from our sponsors, we'll dive into the world of gaming.
Attention, ladies, gentlemen, and our non-binary friends. Gather round and listen up because we've got something truly extraordinary for your kitchen. Introducing the one and only Max BTU cooktop and oven, brought to you by the fine folks at Landgraab Industries. That's right, this marvelous marvel has been meticulously designed by a trio of the world's finest rocket scientists who just happen to be incredible chefs. They've taken their culinary skills to new heights, and now they're bringing that genius straight to your home. With the Max BTU cooktop, you can cook at temperatures that are simply out of this world. You'll be flipping flapjacks and whipping up waffles like a pro. But be careful, folks. Don't leave those waffles on too long, or you just might find yourself with a sprinkle of rocket dust. So why settle for extraordinary when you can cook with the extraordinary? Bring home the Max BTU cooktop and oven today and elevate your cooking to the stratosphere. Available now at all leading appliance stores. Landgraab Industries, we grab your simoleons and your heart.
Attention SimsVille residents! Are you tired of feeling like a background character in someone else's life montage? Then perhaps it's time to elevate your form, your function, and your physical aspirations at Bachelor Bodyworks, SimsVille premier fitness destination owned and operated by longtime family acquaintance Michael Bachelor. At Bachelor Bodyworks, Michael believes fitness isn't just about strength. It's about presentation, discipline, and making excellent life choices. Whether you're looking to sculpt your core, define your arms, or simply look successful while doing lunges, Bachelor Bodyworks offers state-of-the-art equipment, personal training sessions, and mirrors positioned at very flattering angles. And if you happen to spot Michael's wife, Dina Bachelor, relaxing near the juice bar, rest assured it's not vanity, it's motivation. Memberships are available in flexible tiers, including basic, premium, and the ever-popular Platinum Lifestyle Package, which includes complimentary protein smoothies, priority locker access, and the vague feeling that you're doing very well for yourself. So stop procrastinating, SimsVille. Invest in your body, invest in your future, and remember, at Bachelor Bodyworks, results speak louder than vows. Welcome back, Simmers. I'm thrilled to jump into one of my favorite segments where we talk all things The Sims. Today's discussion is a follow-up to last week's episode where I shared some of my hopes for the future of the franchise and for EA Maxis, and I'm happy to report we received some fantastic listener feedback. I'll be reading and responding to one of those messages towards the end of this segment. In the previous episode, I praised how well EA handled the 25th anniversary re-release of The Sims 2, and the first two My Sims titles. I also shared my wish that they'd extend the same care to the original console games, The Sims and The Sims Bustin' Out. Just imagine those classics fully remastered and available on both console and PC. Now, there's something else I'd love to see returned, something that's very close to my heart, the Sims Stories franchise. For anyone unfamiliar, the Stories games were designed for smoother, faster gameplay, especially on laptops, back when hardware limitations were a real concern. One of their standout features was the auto-pause function, which made it easy to jump in and out of the game whenever you needed to open or close your laptop. They also introduced story-driven gameplay, letting players step into the lives of established Sims like Riley Harlow and Vincent Moore. But just as importantly, they included a free play mode, allowing players to create their own Sims and play freely, much like the main series. Which brings me to something I find especially interesting. The Sims 4 still hasn't been released on any modern Nintendo consoles as of this recording. If EA were to revive the Life Stories concept, they could adapt core Sims gameplay for those platforms. Picture this. The Sims 4 Life Stories. Simplified graphics, a more limited asset pool, structured story modes, and a free play option. And let's be honest, Switch players would absolutely eat this up. It would open the door for sequels, each with different stories, characters, and themes. I mean, how great would that be? And hey, if anyone over at EA is listening, I'd love to collaborate on something like this. Clearly, I know a thing or two about writing and sim lore. Let's keep that conversation going. Speaking of conversations, I'm excited to share a listener comment from Simmer and YouTuber Lakely Sims. She writes, "What would I like to see from The Sims now? Definitely not a new game altogether. I've spent way too much money on Sims 4 DLC to start fresh again. I love difficulty sliders, lower income, higher expenses, harder relationships, and more chaos. I think that's what people love most about The Sims 2, the challenges and unpredictability compared to The Sims 4. Likely, yes, you absolutely nailed it. Difficulty sliders would be an incredible addition. It'd give players real control over how cozy or chaotic they want their gameplay to be. Whether you want a laid-back life sim or total disaster, sliders would make that possible. I'm completely on board with this idea. And you're absolutely right, The Sims 4 does sometimes lack the chaos that made earlier entries so memorable. After 11 years, it feels like EA is still trying to pinpoint its ideal audience. Early on, the focus clearly leaned younger, but the Sims community has always been incredibly diverse. Right from the very beginning, that diversity is what makes this fandom so special. From anime lovers to sci-fi fans, from wholesome family gameplay to more mature storytelling, there's room for everybody here. So here's hoping to future updates bringing back more challenge, unpredictability, and creative freedom." Thank you so much for writing in, Lakely. Be sure to check her out on YouTube. I'll be sure to link her in the show notes. And to everyone listening, what features would you like to see added to The Sims? Comment below, send us an email, and who knows, I might read your thoughts in a future episode. Let's keep this conversation going. Welcome back, dear listeners. The sun has set, the curtain has fallen on this first episode of the SimsVille podcast, broadcast from San Myshuno. As I gaze out the window of my modest office, watching the city pulse below, I find myself reflecting on everything that's changed since arriving here. Mom stopped by earlier with a bouquet she arranged herself, flower arranging being her latest hobby. Even if the flowers were already beginning to wilt, they bring a piece of SimsVille into the city, something I very much needed. Especially after the kitchen electrical box began sparking. I called the superintendent who sent over the resident handyman. Yes, Bruno. Despite living next door, it took him over an hour to arrive. He dropped his filthy toolbox onto the hardwood floor, leaving behind both a chip and an oil stain that will likely outlive me. He accused me of trying to burn the building down, somehow tying the incident back to his sister's wedding, before begrudgingly fixing what the superintendent later confirmed was a known reoccurring issue. Somewhere along the way, Bruno complained about the sour odor in my living room, which I cannot unsmell, and I believe I accidentally agreed to watch his children tomorrow, though I have no memory of offering. Oh, would you look at that? It appears my neighbor, Shannon Desperate, owns a telescope. I should really start closing my blinds. In fact, that's probably how he knows when I'm recording, so he can turn up that infernal music. He likely uses it to impress those floozy he calls guests with his vast knowledge of the zodiac. Seriously, what does he think this is, the early 2000s? Oh no, he's entered his bedroom. I'll just maneuver behind this fake plant. As expected, blonde companion, telescope, excessive confidence. Wait, what's that light? Listeners, there's a spherical flying object hovering several stories outside the apartment building. A bright beam of light is projecting directly into Shannon's apartment. He and his guest are being lifted from the floor, drawn towards the beam, passing right through the glass. I can hear their muffled screams. I need a moment to process what I've just witnessed. Citizens of SimsVille and the greater Sim Nation, I believe I just witnessed my neighbor being abducted by a UFO. Well, on the bright side, at least he didn't leave his stereo playing. And on that note, dear listeners, have a good night. Dag dag. You've been listening to another chapter of SimsVille, an unofficial fan-made audio drama inspired by The Sims. We are not affiliated with, endorsed by, or sponsored by Electronic Arts or Maxis. This episode may include short audio segments from the games used strictly for artistic and transformative purposes under fair use. All names, voices, and audio assets remain the property of their respective copyright holders. Featuring the talents of Jeffrey Woods as Jeffery Crumplebottom, Raymond Leslie as the voice of Landgraab Industries, who totally assured us that this message is not an ad, and Sonny the Tragic Clown, who voiced himself. Be sure to check out Raymond Leslie at Ray the Unusual on most social media platforms. If you enjoyed your stay in Simsville, please rate, review, follow, and share the show. Your support keeps the town running and keeps Jeffrey's needs bars from dipping dangerously into the red.